Welcome back to another episode of Base Builder Monday. My name is Ben. I work on a marketing team for Blimflux Studios who are currently developing Ground of Aces. More and more people have been playing the demo version and many have been uploading their videos to YouTube showing how they play their gameplay. So I decided to create a video where I kind of show you how the devs would start the game. So welcome to a video that absolutely nobody asked for. How do the devs do it? So let's get going. So we start off with very little here. We got a little house, got some beds, and we have some resources that can degrade. So you see the integrity value that can go down. Food is a particular issue in that respect, so we want to protect, first and foremost, all of our resources that we have. So I like to create a storage zone and put the first batch of resources in that little hut, because this doesn't cost a lot of resources. So step 1, protect the stuff. Step 2 is food. The first things first, I like to create 2 little gardens, one that creates seeds and one that creates food. So this will give you an endless cycle of food, right? You'll have seeds that will always generate seeds in order to provide the food. So you have to kind of scour through the map, see what's there. You got some like wheat stuff over here. What's this called? Wild grain. But what we're looking for is actually right here. This is a wild tomatoes. So now after 5 minutes of gameplay, you got a garden, you got a kitchen, you got water, you have everything you need to start, which allows us to go for our workbenches. You don't need all of these at once. The main ones that you need are the ones that give you resources that help you build things. Some workbenches need to be placed outdoors, like the cement mixer. Some need to be built indoors. Make sure your kitchen is constantly producing food, then you don't have to worry about energy levels. Now we have our workbenches going, which means we can get going on the larger structures of the game. Now I'd like to invest in the future and start clearing out some space here in order to create my first runway. So the first runway doesn't have to be very big. It just needs to cover the tier 1 level. And that looks something along the lines of this-ish. Oop. Bam. When the crew is asleep, I like to just go through all of their statuses and see the number values here. If they're relatively high or relatively low like this. These two are completely pooped and drained, so I need to fix that. My storage zone is now pretty full, so I will actually look to invest in a new storage zone. Just dedicated for food, so I know where to find it at all times. I use doors as walls because it's cheaper than walls. So let's recap here. We're 20 minutes or so into the game. We have covered all of our major workbenches, so we can produce bricks, planks, cement, all kinds of metals that we need to. We have food that's in production. We have a garden that will be producing even more food at some point. We have our first runway, which means we can now build our first parking spot. Put it right there. This will require bricks and planks, so I'll have to create some more bricks. Means I will need to create or harvest some sand and clay. We're there now. This means that soon we'll be able to get our first plane and start our first mission to collect some victory points. Victory points are points that you earn when you have a successful mission, which allow you to buy further planes down the plane hierarchy. But for that, we'll also need to upgrade our runway to tier 2 and tier 3 runway, because this just won't do. Your crew will at some point be deflated. So this guy's doing pretty well on the status level, but there's another guy somewhere. This guy, he's not doing well at all, right? So mood is bad, energy levels are bad, and confidence is bad. So I need to install some stuff to boost those values. So I add a couple more flagpoles so they can salute. That will increase morale a little bit. Once we start doing missions, that will also improve morale. So we are 30 minutes into the game. We have our first harvestable food. That's great. So I don't need to rely on picking food anymore. That's fully automated. We have our first mission, but I need to get my first plane. And the first plane is always a Gluster Gladiator. Nice. Ooh. Means we have one more crew member who will need a bed. This is where we can now start with our missions. This is where you send them off. 80% success rate, go. Bring me back success. Mission successful, very nice. That's amazing. +1 victory points, +5 base mood. Fantastic. So with the victory points up here, we have 1 out of possible 12. We need 3 to get the next plane, and so on and so forth. So now that you have all of the main things in order, what I like to do is I like to give the guys a day's rest, because a lot of them are pooped. They don't have enough energy. So I like to give them like a day or two where they just don't have to do anything. They can just have leisure all day and sleep. This gives them the opportunity to like boost their stats depending on what they're doing. This guy's saluting the flag, which will give him a confidence boost. After I give them like a day or two worth of vacation, they can all go back to work with a regular leisure time. And I go through their stats and I see, okay, everything's kind of green here. Everything's looking good, except for a couple of small values. That's okay. Now we can start looking into more social aspects where we kind of boost the morale using items like a jukebox, or where's our dart? There's a dartboard somewhere. Here we go, a dartboard, which is going to put on the outside here. It doesn't really matter. After a couple of successful missions, you will now have some victory points which you can use for better planes, which will require a runway upgrade to tier 2. Now it's going to take some work, and it's going to take a lot of sand. So let's do that and clear the area. So once the runway upgrade is complete, we can summon our Hawker Hurricane. Yes, and it's at this point you will get harder missions. So after about 1 hour of gameplay, we were able to establish, number 1, a safe spot for all of the main resources you're given in the beginning of the game. Number 2, a reliable source of food that generates all kinds of meals for you, so you don't have to worry about anyone going hungry. Number 3, all of your workbenches that you'll need to progress to build. Number 4, your runway and parking zones to bring in your planes and start your missions. And from then on out, once you have this foundation, it's all about tweaking the foundation based on the progression of your game. So once you have more planes and more crew members, you need to maybe create a second kitchen or a larger spot for your food. And then you build upon that each time until you reach the hardest point of the game, where you have to create the largest runways and you get the hardest missions. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how the devs would play Ground of Aces. Thank you for watching the video that nobody asked for. I hope to see you guys again soon. Remember, the demo is available now. Feel free to play Ground of Aces. Feel free to give us your feedback and ideas. I'll see you guys next week on Base Builder Money. Take care and have a great week. Bye-bye.